What if I told you that one of the strongest friendships in Love and Hip Hop Atlanta just crumbled right before our eyes? What if I told you that two women who once called each other sisters are now facing one of the most jaw-dropping betrayals of Season 13? That's exactly what's going down between Yandy and Rasheeda. And trust me, you won't believe the way it all unfolded. For years, fans have seen Yandy and Rasheeda ride for each other, defend each other in messy situations, and stand side by side when the cameras got ugly. But in this latest season, Yandy steps forward with a revelation that completely flips the script. She claims Rasheeda crossed a line so deep it left her questioning their entire bond. And the wildest part, the betrayal didn't just stop with Yandy. It ended up pulling in the one person no one expected: Spice. When Yandy dropped the bombshell, Spice's reaction said it all. Pure shock. It wasn't just about the betrayal itself, but the fact that it came from Rasheeda, someone Spice herself always respected as the level-headed queen of the group. This moment didn't just shake up a friendship, it shook up the entire dynamic of the show. Because if Yandy and Rasheeda can fall apart like this, who's safe? Season 13 of LHHATL is already giving us explosive storylines, but this feels different. It's raw, it's personal, and it's the kind of betrayal that doesn't just fade away with time, it scars. Love and Hip Hop Atlanta Season 13 has already been a roller coaster. But the latest revelation from Yandy Smith-Harris just flipped the entire cast upside down. What started as a casual conversation quickly spiraled into one of the biggest betrayals the franchise has seen in years. And at the center of it all stands Rasheeda Frost, the woman fans once viewed as the glue of the group. And let me tell you, when Spice heard what went down, she was left absolutely floored. To truly understand the weight of this betrayal, we need to rewind. For over a decade, viewers have seen Yandy and Rasheeda build what looked like an unshakable bond. Their friendship wasn't just for the cameras. It was built on years of personal struggles, business partnerships, and countless late-night phone calls where they leaned on each other. At least that's what fans thought. But as this season unfolds, it's becoming clearer that the trust Yandy placed in Rasheeda may have been nothing more than an illusion. According to Yandy, Rasheeda wasn't just keeping secrets. She was actively moving in ways that could jeopardize Yandy's reputation and relationships with others in the cast. Now, betrayal in Love and Hip Hop isn't exactly rare. This show thrives on backstabbing, secret alliances, and dramatic confrontations. But what makes this situation different is the sheer depth of history between the two women. Yandy wasn't just blindsided. She felt gutted. Insiders claim the drama began when Rasheeda aligned herself with people Yandy considered her rivals. Instead of supporting Yandy during heated moments, Rasheeda allegedly joined the opposite side, whispering behind Yandy back and feeding into narratives that painted her in a negative light. For Yandy, this wasn't just typical reality TV drama. It was a betrayal of loyalty, something she values above everything else. When Yandy finally confronted Rasheeda, the tension was so thick you could feel it through the screen. Yandy didn't hold back. She laid everything on the table, from the shady conversations she had heard about to the whispers Rasheeda allegedly fueled. The most jaw-dropping part, Spice, who had been quietly listening, was visibly stunned. Even Spice, who has been in her share of controversies, looked like she couldn't believe Rasheeda would cross that line. Fans watching the episode took to social media immediately. Twitter exploded with reactions, many siding with Yandy and expressing disappointment in Rasheeda. Some even went as far as saying this could permanently tarnish Rasheeda's image, which has always been tied to her realness and loyalty. But the other side of the internet wasn't so quick to crown Yandy as the victim. Skeptics pointed out that Yandy has her own history of manipulating situations and playing politics within the cast. Could it be that Yandy is twisting the narrative for her own benefit? Regardless of whose side you're on, one thing is crystal clear: this isn't a storyline that's going to fade away in a single episode. This betrayal has planted seeds of division that will ripple through the rest of the season. Alliances are shifting. Trust is crumbling, and fans can already see the foundation of the cast shaking under the weight of this drama. To make matters worse, the betrayal isn't just about friendship, it's also tied to business. Both Yandy and Rasheeda are bosses in their own right, running empires outside of the show. Rumors suggest that Rasheeda's business decisions may have also undercut Yandy Ventures, creating a mix of personal and professional tension that makes the fallout even more explosive. For Yandy, this wasn't just about being hurt emotionally, it was about betrayal that touched her money, her image, and her respect in the industry. Spice's reaction became the cherry on top. The usually outspoken dance hall queen was so taken aback that she needed time to process what she had just heard. For Spice, loyalty is a core value. And watching someone she considered a friend betray another close castmate was nothing short of shocking. Fans couldn't stop replaying her facial expressions during the confrontation. Those wide eyes said everything without a single word. And here's the kicker: the confrontation isn't over. Insiders hint that what we've seen so far is only the beginning. Yandy revelation has opened Pandora's box, and as the season progresses, more secrets are expected to come spilling out. If Rasheeda thought she could brush this betrayal under the rug, she's in for a rude awakening, because Yandy is determined to make sure the world knows exactly how she walked wrong, as rolled back in for season 13. Viewers were already bracing themselves for drama, but nobody expected the heat to rise this fast. What unfolded between Yandy, Rasheeda, and Spice was less of a misunderstanding and more of a deep cut that left friendships fractured. The episode picked up with Yandy sitting down, her expression calm on the surface, but with that signature edge in her tone. She didn't waste time sugarcoating. According to her, Rasheeda had crossed a line that went way beyond typical reality TV mess. For Yandy, this wasn't just about gossip or petty shade. This was personal. Rasheeda, on the other hand, stood her ground with her usual composed demeanor. But Spice, Spice, was the one who couldn't mask her shock. The dance hall queen's face said everything. Betrayal wasn't something she saw coming from Rasheeda, who had always branded herself as loyal, level-headed, and above the usual games. But Yandy came with receipts, or at least with a version of events that painted Rasheeda as someone willing to sell out a friend when it suited her. She revealed that Rasheeda had allegedly spoken behind her back in a way that didn't just sting. It cut deep into Yandy trust. The accusations painted Rasheeda as strategic, someone who played the middle too often, trying to keep peace publicly but stirring trouble quietly. Spice's role in this triangle was equally explosive. Her jaw practically hit the floor as she realized the depth of what Yandy was saying. For years, Spice had seen Rasheeda as a sister figure, someone steady in the storm of Atlanta's chaos, but hearing Yandy spell out the details made Spice question just how solid Rasheeda's loyalty really was. The betrayal wasn't about small things like side conversations or playful shade. Yandy suggested Rasheeda had aligned herself with people Yandy considered enemies. That hit hard to V. Loyalty means standing firm even when it's inconvenient. And the way she laid it out, Rasheeda's choices looked less like neutrality and more like betrayal, dressed up as diplomacy. And this is where things got messy. Rasheeda didn't outright deny the claims, but Chef framed her actions differently. To her, it wasn't betrayal, it was survival. In a world where alliances shift constantly, Rasheeda argued that she wasn't stabbing anyone in the back. She was just keeping the peace. But to Yandy, that reasoning sounded more like an excuse. The room's energy shifted as the confrontation heated up. Spice, stuck in the middle, tried to play mediator, but her disbelief lingered. She kept shaking her head, struggling to accept that Rasheeda, the same woman she'd confided in countless times, might have crossed this kind of line. What makes this clash even juicier is how it exposes the bigger dynamics of love and hip-hop. Atlanta. The show thrives on loyalty, betrayal, and shifting friendships. Fans love the music, the hustle, and the glitz, but the heart of the franchise has always been relationships. Watching Yandy and Rasheeda, two women who once stood side by side, unravel in front of the cameras is exactly the kind of raw, unscripted moment that keeps the audience hooked. And then came the kicker. Yandy didn't just accuse Rasheeda, she doubled down. She told Spice straight up that people who smile in your face while plotting behind your back are more dangerous than obvious enemies. Yes, enemies. That line hit Spice hard, and her silence spoke louder than words. This wasn't just TV drama. It was a mirror into the reality of female friendships in the spotlight. The betrayal Yandy described wasn't about petty jealousy. It was about broken trust. And if there's one thing reality TV has taught us, it's that trust, once broken, rarely heals on camera. The fallout from this revelation set the stage for even bigger blow-ups. Fans flooded social media, taking sides, dissecting every word Yandy said, and speculating about Rasheeda's motives. Was she really playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers? Or was Yandy exaggerating for the cameras, blowing things out of proportion to secure her storyline? Either way, Spice's reaction summed it up best. Complete shock. For her, the hardest part wasn't Yandy anger. It was realizing that someone she trusted so deeply might not have been as loyal as she believed. The cameras cut back in, and you could feel the tension so thick it could choke you. The whole room was sitting in a weird kind of silence, and everyone's eyes were locked on V. This wasn't the same light-hearted Yandy who usually tried to keep things calm and collected. This was Yandy with a storm sitting right on her shoulders. Her face gave it all away. Hurt, anger, confusion, and she finally let the words roll out. She admitted that what cut her deep wasn't just about business or some casual misunderstanding. This was about trust, loyalty, and the kind of friendship that she believed could withstand the fire. She explained that she had gone out of her way to protect Rasheeda, defend her name, and even put herself on the line when other cast members threw shade or started questioning Rasheeda's motives. But the betrayal came when she discovered that Rasheeda had been holding private conversations, even plotting behind her back in ways that made Yandy look like a pawn in someone else's game. You could see Spice lean forward, shaking her head slowly, like she couldn't believe what she was hearing. Her shock wasn't just at the information. It was at the realization that if this could happen between Van and Rasheeda, two women who had built such a strong image of unity, then nobody's friendship was truly safe in the circle. That disbelief carried across the room as Yandy broke it down. She shared moments where Rasheeda had assured her they were sisters and had each other's backs, only to find out that in the next breath, Rasheeda was questioning her intentions to others. The real kicker: there were receipts, conversations, whispers, and actions that painted a whole different picture than the one Rasheeda had sold to her face. When Rasheeda finally spoke, her defense came with a shaky kind of confidence. She argued that what Yandy was calling betrayal was really her trying to protect herself. She claimed she didn't mean harm, that she was only doing what she thought was best in a circle where alliances shift by the second, but Yandy wasn't buying it. Her voice cracked as she told Rasheeda it wasn't about strategy. It was about the fact that she expected honesty, and instead she got blindsided. The room erupted inside conversations. Cast members whispered, looked away, or nervously sipped their drinks. Some leaned into the drama like they were watching it unfold on TV for the first time themselves. That's the magic and the chaos of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. The line between real life and TV blurs so much that sometimes even the cast forgets where they stand. Spice, still visibly shaken, stepped in. She said the part everyone else was too afraid to voice. If Rasheeda can do this to Yandy, then what about the rest of us? It was a line that sent chills because it was true. The show has always been about alliances, feuds, and explosive reveals, but this moment was more raw. It was a wake-up call about what happens when friendship, fame, and survival in reality TV collide. Yandy, holding back tears, confessed that it wasn't about a storyline for her. This wasn't a play for cameras. It was her real life, her real trust, and her real pain. She said that coming into the show, she thought building new bonds in Atlanta would be refreshing, especially with women she respected like Rasheeda. But this cut reminded her that sometimes the harshest lessons come from those you let closest to you. Rasheeda tried once again to clear her name, but the damage was already too deep. Every explanation sounded like an excuse, and the more she spoke, the more the audience could see Yandy pulling back emotionally. You could practically feel the gap widening between them, a crack that might never close again. For fans watching, it was the kind of reality TV gold that makes jaws drop, but for the women living it, the weight was crushing. Yandy's revelation wasn't just a scandal. It was a breakdown of trust that had everyone reevaluating where they stood. Spice summed it up perfectly. This right here shows that sometimes, the people closest to you will shake your world harder than your enemies ever could. The scene didn't end with hugs or easy forgiveness. It ended with Yandy sitting back, her silence saying more than her words, and Rasheeda caught between defending herself and realizing just how badly she might have fumbled. Spick's wide shock lingered, reminding everyone that in season 13 of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, the drama wasn't just about music, relationships, or fame. It was about betrayal so raw it left scars deeper than any storyline could. By the time the cameras cut, the atmosphere had completely shifted. Everyone knew that things wouldn't be the same after this. Viewers at home weren't just watching another dramatic blow-up. They were witnessing the unraveling of a friendship that once looked unbreakable. The betrayal, the shock, the tension, it was all too real. And it proved once again why this show keeps fans hooked, season after season. If you thought this episode of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta was explosive, just wait because the drama is only heating up. Do you think Yanwa's right to call out Rasheeda, or is there more to this betrayal than what we've seen? And how do you think Spice will handle being caught in the middle of all this chaos? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because this story is far from over. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next jaw-dropping update. Trust me, the next episode will shake things up even more, and you'll want to be here when it does.